Hey, welcome back to the Broker's Voice. I am excited today to have Brian Del Savio join me with new benefits. Brian, welcome to the Broker's Voice.
Thanks, Andy. It's a pleasure to be here. Every time I talk to you, I really just feel like I'm a better person after leaving. So,
Well, I
both
appreciate that, man.
professionally and business-wise, thanks for having me on.
Well, I'm going to tell you, you're a better man because you take action. That's the reason it's all working out for you right now. And I want people, we're going to use this episode to have a little fun because I don't think there's a lot of people probably know Brian with new benefits, but they don't know Brian Del Savio prior to new benefits. So we're going to start there. You had made a comment offline that some people listen to you and they go, Brian, where are you from? Where's that accent? Why don't we start? Where were you born and raised?
Yeah, I was born and raised right outside New York City. So many people do say, I say funny things like bag or the Oz or whatever it is. I just can't get rid of it. I currently reside down in Southwest Florida with my family, but yeah, I grew up outside New York City. My dad, my grandparents came over to New York City from Italy through Ellis Island, settled in the Bronx. My mom's side also came from Italy over here, and then that New York accent is I think it's gonna be with me for life.
Well, it's funny. Whenever I listen to a podcast or something, I have a lot of people I follow that just happen to be from like Long Island. For whatever reason, there's a ton of successful entrepreneurs from Long Island, but there's one word that I hear that I know, yes, you are from New York some way, shape, or form. Instead of saying tournament, it's tournament.
Tournament. Absolutely, 100%. Exactly.
So let's talk about your childhood, because actually, you went through my academy, and for 12 weeks, I didn't know this about you until the end. And I'm like, how has it taken this long to know this? You were a really good hockey and baseball player.
Yeah.
So talk about that, high school, playing both of those sports in high school. Maybe what was it like back then compared to today? Because everything's travel teams.
Yeah.
But talk about your high school hockey and baseball career.
Yeah, I mean, sports played a huge role in my life growing up. I grew up with my older brother, who's only a couple years older than me. So I was always the younger one, especially on my block. I was the youngest one on the block. So I was always having to step up my level to play with all these guys. I played in high school as an 8th grader. I think I'm one of the only people to ever play. I had to pass a certain test to get on the high school team. I was in the first line as an 8th grader, probably, I don't know, 130 pounds, whatever at the time, going against these seniors. I got hurt a couple times doing that, but I was all right. Actually broke my leg in my senior year. Didn't even play my senior year. But yeah, I mean, I loved hockey. I loved all sorts of sports growing up. Really competitive environment, kind of growing up in the New York City area. And yeah, I ended up, we've talked about before, I don't really talk about too much, but since you asked, like breaking the records in high school for the all-time for the goals and assists and points and all that stuff. With baseball, one of my friends just called me a couple weeks ago. I don't know why, but he said, "Hey, do you know you're still the all-time hit leader at the high school for baseball?" So I was that guy that was the high school athlete, really, free sport athlete. I played soccer as well, really just stay in shape. But I was a captain of all 3 teams. I just love sports. I still do till today. And then after that, I got some letters from D1 schools for baseball, and hockey is a little bit more difficult. I kind of went the traditional route, like you're saying. At the time, there was travel hockey and all this stuff, but I didn't really want to, I don't know, for whatever reason, I wanted to stay with my friends. I didn't want to kind of get out there. And that kind of plays into the exponential awareness you talk about today, why I really want to be exponentially, create exponential awareness in my business, because I have regrets about not doing that.
And we're going to talk about that in a second. What you were a defenseman in hockey. What position were you in baseball?
Catcher, actually. And,
okay.
In hockey, I played defense just because the team needed it. I played forward in like 8th and 9th grade, and the team, I could basically stay on the ice almost the entire game as a defenseman. So they said, we're going to put you back on defense. And I played defense for my sophomore and junior year, and then my senior year I got hurt. But yeah.
That's awesome. You remind me of my nephew. My nephew's played hockey and baseball in high school. He just graduated. And, you're talking about that whole 8th grade thing. I can remember high school wrestling. There's some states where kids could actually wrestle varsity as 8th graders. Yeah. And I remember hearing the story mainly at colleges like University of Iowa, the big programs where a kid was a 5-time state champ as a wrestler. That means he won in 8th grade. Can you imagine being like a senior in wrestling and losing to an 8th grader?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. But that's really cool, man. So you get to college, you go to Franklin Pierce, which is in New Hampshire.
Right.
And you had mentioned that you had a chance to play both sports actually at Franklin Pierce, which would have been quite the feat, because playing 2 sports in college plus, maintaining grades is no easy task. But you ended up going down the path of just hockey. Why not baseball?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just, looking back on it, I think a lot of it was just um, I think I was my own worst enemy, quite frankly, to a certain degree. Right? I'm kind of a perfectionist, and I just felt like maybe I couldn't do both. I also had other priorities at that young age, of course. But I ended up, I loved hockey though. I love both sports, but hockey was really always has been in my heart since I was a little kid. I mean, going to games since I was a little kid, playing. And anyway, so I did focus on the hockey. Basically walked onto that team out of high school. Most of those kids were coming from junior programs. They were 20-year-olds as freshmen. I was like 18 years old and, just walking on that team. Thank goodness I made it, and I focused on that. But actually, I did play baseball for a little bit in college, not really by my choice or me going out there and seeking that. One of my roommates just basically said, "Hey, why don't you come down? I know you used to play baseball in high school, and come hit some balls in the cage." It was the off season, and the coach comes in. He's like, "Dude, what are you doing? Like, where have you been?" He's like, "You're going to come to the field tomorrow morning." I'm like, "Tomorrow morning?" He's like, yeah, don't worry about it. I got your uniform and everything. So I actually ended up playing for like a off season with the team, doing really well. And then with hockey, I actually completely dislocated my shoulder, my right shoulder, my throwing shoulder. I needed surgery for a year. I should have just done it. Looking back, I didn't. And then that was it. The coach said, "Why don't you stay on as DH?" And again, I was more worse enemy. I didn't do that, and I just focused on hockey. But it's a regret of mine. But it is what it is at this point.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit because I think you and I have a similar regret. It's funny you bring up, or interesting you bring up the hockey thing. What I think is unique about college hockey, in my perspective, is following the Wisconsin Badgers hockey team. There were a couple of years they were really good. And what's unique about that is because you have a lot of kids coming from the junior programs up in Canada. Some kids are playing college hockey at age 22, 23, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
most of the kids, yeah.
These guys are men. You went on to have a very successful hockey career, though, at Franklin Pierce.
Yeah, we were younger. Yep.
Keep going. No, keep going. Talk about that, because I think, and that also gave you an opportunity that opened the door to even play at a professional level.
Yeah, it was definitely a ride there. It was a newer program. We had just gone, official NCAA basically into the ECAC Northeast, and Northeast 10 were the conferences up there. Good conferences for hockey. That Franklin Pierce had been, basically destroying teams as a club team for years before I got there. They finally made the jump to the NCAA, full-blown NCAA. But it was tough at first. I mean, it taught me a lot. A lot of stuff that probably sticks to me until today. I mean, it was tough to win a game in that conference. We barely did the first season, first two seasons. And I had offers to go to other colleges and things like that. Again, maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. I'm a loyal person. I stayed, stuck through it, ended up leaving that program at the time as the all-time leading goal scorer there as well. Was captain of the team. So yeah, I mean, just made some great friends, and it was a great experience, and it taught me a lot. Looking back, I didn't realize at the time, but it really was teaching me a lot about life just going through that experience.
Well, what would you say? I'm curious because you made a comment offline about having a successful career at Franklin Pierce. You just said you left as the all-time leading scorer. It gave you an opportunity to possibly open the door to playing some professional hockey, but you said no. Talk about that, because I have a very similar regret, but I'd love to hear your perspective.
Yeah, I think it goes back to just kind of that, almost like that self-sabotage, like not deserving things. And I've worked hard at that. I think a lot of people, it's funny when you open up about this, a lot of people have the same thing. Maybe they don't even realize it, and they start talking about like, wow, I kind of had that same thing, that fear of being out there and excelling almost too much. It's kind of interesting, but it's like your own worst enemy sometimes. But yeah, I went to a couple of tryouts in the semi-pros, which was ECHL, basically the league for hockey. And again, they kept inviting me to come back and keep going. And I just basically stopped. So I can't really put a finger exactly why, but again, it's one of those, like you said, you can't go back, because if I did keep pursuing it, I probably would have kept playing and played at a higher level. Would I be in the NHL? Probably not, but you never know. But I like to look at it as, maybe I would have broke my neck. That league was pretty crazy that I was trying out for. So you never know, but everything happens for a reason looking back. But yeah, it was a crazy league at the time. And I just decided to I was ready to get into the workforce, and it is what it is.
Yeah. My situation was I had been cut by the Milwaukee Brewers, and it was the last day or second last day of spring training. And I remember they bring you into the director of player personnel's office. And what they do is they lay down basically a list of all these independent teams. They're like, you tell us where you want to go. We'll make the call and get you on one of these teams. And I said, no, thanks.
Yeah.
Because I had my college degree. I was like, okay, it's time to enter the business world, right? When I look back at that, I'm like, what would have happened if I would have said yes? I was 22 years old. What would have happened if I went and played another summer or two of independent ball? Maybe I get picked up by somebody else, right? And so that was that one decision where I'm like, man, did I make the right decision in that moment? I don't know, but you never want to look back. Hindsight's 2020. So one quick question before we get into new benefits. And I hope your boss is watching, because you said you're a very loyal guy. So I hope they're hearing this. When you look back at your sports career and what you're doing today, what lessons do you take from your athletic career and apply today?
Actually, a lot of it does come around that exponential awareness. So, like, you got to be a champion of yourself, and you got to get out there, right? Sometimes it's not going to just come to you. So a lot of that is what I'm trying to do now, and thanks a lot to your help. But it's like, what if I did go to that private school in high school and take that step? You know what I mean? And get more, because that's going to be much more awareness, obviously, to me. A lot more people are looking at that league than a high school hockey league, right? What if I did play junior hockey for those extra 2 years, right? And go somewhere random and play that hockey? What if I did switch colleges? What if I did keep on going to ECA? So that's kind of it. Like, just, it's almost like saying yes. Like, getting out there and saying yes and creating exponential awareness is one of the biggest things that it kind of taught me. And that fear of not reaching your maximum, capability, it's like the fear of wasted talent almost. If you've ever seen the movie The Bronx Tale, fear of wasted talent is one of the quotes in there. That's kind of where I'm at. And I just live my life like that every day, essentially, both for business and for family, by the way.
Yeah, that's, one of the reasons Complete Game Consulting exists is, one of the things we love doing is helping producers and insurance professionals reach their full potential, because I feel like I fell short of mine in pro ball. I really do. And only that, right? And a lot of people probably look at your situation, go, man, you were lucky to have that opportunity. It's like, yeah, but I still know that I didn't really reach the potential I was capable of.
Right. Absolutely.
And only you looking in the mirror. And I think it's important. You brought up the word vulnerable earlier. We are in an industry, Brian, where people love to peacock. Let's be really honest. People love to talk about their size of their book, and they love to stick that chest out and compare themselves to others. But vulnerability is important right now. It's important for you to be able to look in the mirror and go, yeah, I am not where I want to be yet, or I'm not reaching my full potential. And so I'm glad you recognize that. So let's transition to new benefits. So you're with new benefits. I'm going to start with the obvious question. Let's start with, what the heck is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I'm going to ask you, why is it different? Because what I will share is it's a technology, right? And in a world of commoditization, everybody's like, oh, great, you're another app, or you're another technology solution. So let's start with, what is new benefits?
Yeah, technology is definitely a component of that. So a lot of people don't even realize new benefits has been around for about 33 years, actually. So
I didn't know that. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of people see our technology like, oh, this must be a tech startup or something like that. But actually, the technology is a huge part of it. You have to be tech forward and tech thinking. And that's what we are. So we're always trying to stay ahead of the game in that area. But really, we're a provider of benefits also. So New Benefits started 33 years ago as a vision discount company, and that was it. We basically invented what's the discount medical plan organization space. That's how we're regulated, essentially. So now you see all these different companies out there. But really, New Benefits basically invented that space. The regulations were built around New Benefits, essentially, going back 3 decades. But today, really, we've just been expanding and basically adapting to meet the needs of our clients, which are direct clients, are basically employee benefit firms, consultants, essentially. And we basically have now come to the place where we have roughly 30 of the top enhanced benefits in the marketplace in one place. So these are all types of benefits that are not insurance, but they are here to complement any sort of traditional insurance, if you want to call it traditional insurance. I know brokers are doing a lot of unique things as well, but the core benefits that brokers are providing to the groups, they can come to us, and we've already been vetting these products, like I said, for decades, and we have them all in one place. We're always evolving, and then those brokers can go and basically create completely custom packages for their employer groups, essentially.
Well, and dive into that customization, because I think that is one of the differentiators, right? What makes New Benefits different from the other platforms out there that are doing similar things. So talk about that. Talk about your differentiators.
Absolutely. I think it's the flexibility. So obviously it's simplifying the complex world of enhanced benefits, which is what I always talk about, because it is complex and ever changing. So we handle that and all the vetting of the products. But products, one thing, brokers know they come to us, and consultants, they know they're going to get the most highly vetted products in the marketplace in one place for them. But I think the flexibility is really our biggest differentiator. So, there are so many brands out there that people don't realize. New Benefits is actually the one behind the scenes providing the technology and the administration and the benefits. It's just everything is white labeled in the marketplace. So when I talk about flexibility and you talk about flexibility, we're talking about full flexibility for branding. So the program truly looks like your own branding, your employee benefit firm, even down to the group level. So once the benefits are implemented, we brand everything to the actual employer group even. And our group setup time is 2 weeks. So flexibility in branding, flexibility in pricing. We have reduced wholesale pricing, flexibility in what benefits you're including in each package for each one of your groups, because maybe one group needs fertility, a younger group, right? Tech startup or something, a lot of females. Another group may need mental health benefits or pet benefits or caregiver support. It can depend completely based on the actual demographics of each group. So fully flexible branding, fully flexible pricing, fully flexible benefit packages. And then we basically are aggregating everything together into one membership experience. So those employees don't have to worry about downloading 50 different apps or things. Everything's in one single place for them to actually use the benefits.
I think that's what you just said there is key. It's like, okay, you offer a number of different benefits, but the customization, the ability to brand it as your own, but then have a platform like the technology to put it in one place, I think is very, very important, because when it comes to designing benefits today, let's face it, employees have the leverage. You have to have a benefits program they want.
Yeah.
And I think what a lot of people are struggling with today is we have 4 different generations in the workforce, right? We got baby boomers, Gen X, millennials, and Gen Z. And we're not building benefit plans that hit everybody.
Right.
And there's one thing that I think connects all 4 of those generations. This phone right here. Everybody's using this.
That's right. Even the older populations, like you said, it's very interesting. People think, oh, they're not going to download the app. And I think that is key, though, is providing multiple different ways to access the benefits. I talk about this a lot. So in our experience, the employee experience, the employees are going to receive a welcome email. So they'll get that email. Then they're going to receive hard copy membership booklets and cards in the mail. Again, it seems a little bit traditional, but they're typically used to receiving a health insurance card or things like that in the mail. So just in case there is an employee or employees that aren't going to download an app, that's fine. They get that information in the mail, everything branded to their company. They can just use the information in those membership booklets and cards to access the benefits. Then there's a member portal. Okay, you want to go on a computer or a tablet? That's fine. Go that way. Or you want to download the app, which most employees are doing now. Access all the benefits in one place through an app and single sign-on SDK to everything. Don't worry about downloading a million apps either.
Well, I'm going to put you on the spot. It would be easy for somebody in a position like yours to say, who's your ideal fit? Well, all health insurance brokers. But that's not the case. When you think about who is the ideal advisor for a program like New Benefits, describe that advisor for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is true that our space is a little bit unique in terms of our target audience. Our target audience is very, very broad, really, because our benefits can benefit all different types of companies in all 50 states, by the way. But when it comes to the employee benefit advisor, I always say it's kind of the advisor that's not just checking boxes, not just saying, oh, well, there's some sort of telemedicine embedded in the health plan, or there's something else embedded in the health plan. Let's just check that box and move on. I'm looking for those advisors that are truly want to be that main resource for their clients and provide all the best solutions that are out there and present those to them to really become that true advisor to those clients, essentially.
It's more of being the tool belt than it is the hammer who sees everything as a nail, exactly. And I see a lot of advisors who go with one product, try to maximize said profit on that one product. And then they just throw that product down every single prospect's throat when it's no, put the tool belt on and go, okay, based on your situation, which solutions do I have that are going to be the right fit for you? I love that philosophy. So if I'm an advisor listening in going, okay, maybe I struggle with little bandwidth issues. I know I should be providing better solutions. I'm going to ask 2 more questions. What are some emerging solutions that I should start thinking more about as an advisor that maybe weren't as prevalent 3 to 5 years ago? Is there anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because we're always vetting these products. So a lot of times benefits seem like they're maybe emerging, but they've been around for like a decade or so. Typically, we're going to wait for the right time to roll those out to our employee benefit partners. But I would say definitely areas like I call them family benefits, not just that they're available to the entire family, but almost all of our solutions include the entire family. We're talking about benefits like the fertility, surrogacy, adoption, caregiver support for those employees that are taking care of young children at home, maybe with special or unique needs, taking care of elderly parents as well, possibly sandwich caregivers, trying to juggle all of that stuff at home. And I don't even call it work-life. I can't remember what I used to call it. I call it work-life integration now, basically, especially this post-COVID world where it's like that's part of it. Like your family and your work life is basically one now, essentially. And employers are really seeing that. So I would say that's one of the biggest quote unquote emerging benefits, although some of those solutions have been around for a while. And that kind of falls into the same line of virtual mental health benefits. And there's multiple different tiers of that as well, where you can have, listeners where they can go through, listeners who have gone through the same experiences you're going through to kind of create that, those peers that you can talk to. Obviously, traditional counseling programs, 24/7 are access to counselors and psychiatrists. So mental health and family benefits are two of the biggest ones. And the third one is actually pet benefits, by the way. Those are taking off like crazy right now, even though they've been around forever.
I will say, as a parent to a 4-legged child who lived to be almost 17 years old, I wish we would have had pet insurance.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I mean, and there's even there's discounts on veterinarians in person. There's actually pet telehealth, which has been around for a long time. Only now people are finally like, all right, you know what? This actually, we do it for ourselves. This works for our animals too, like our household pets. All right, let's call a veterinarian by phone or video 24/7 and maybe save that vet visit, next week on Wednesday at noon and all that expense that comes with it. So then there's obviously pet insurance as well. So there's many different solutions in that area as well.
Well, it's one of those things, Brian, where I think it's easy to poo-poo benefits like pet insurance or even telehealth, virtual stuff, because a lot of advisors want to focus on the sexy things, the self-funding, the cost containment. But if you're ignoring what employees actually want today, do it at your own peril.
Yep.
Because I know you want to solve this problem, which is great, but at the end of the day, you still have to design health insurance plans that meet employees where they're at. And the workforce has evolved so fast since the pandemic that if what you're offering is not evolving with it, you're going to get caught behind.
Absolutely.
And so for that advisor who is listening in saying, all right, that's me. I know we need to be offering more, but I'm, have a hard time vetting or turning around the corner to see what's next. What would be the easiest way to get in touch with you, Brian, to learn more about new benefits?
Yeah, so definitely on LinkedIn, obviously, Brian Del Savio, connect with me there, send me a message. And then my email address, there you go, bdelsavio
right here
at newbenefits.com.
Cool, Brian. Well, one last question before I let you roll. We're going to go back to your athletic career, whether it was on the baseball field, on the hockey, on the ice. Brian Del Savio today, if you had a chance to go back and have a conversation with Brian Del Savio, who's about to enter life at Franklin Pierce, what advice would you give him today, knowing what you know today?
Wow. So hopefully I can do that. My son right now, by the way, is at hockey camp. So is my daughter. She's at figure skating camp. But anyway, that's a good thing about being a parent. You can kind of take your experiences and share that with your kids and other children as well, hopefully throughout life, but that are younger than you. I would just say take that discipline and work ethic and consistency, which I know you talk about a lot, Andy, and I take that today into my professional life. But don't sell yourself short, essentially, right? You can have all that stuff, but you have to be out there. You have to be taking chances. You have to be saying yes to things that maybe typically you wouldn't want to say yes to. Give it your all, and don't waste any of your talent that you've been given.
One of the things I took away from our conversation today that brought back memories is don't be your own limitation to your success.
Yep.
I think often we are the limiter to reaching our full potential. There's no external forces except us.
That's right.
And you talked about saying no instead of saying yes, or vice versa. I think that's so important for people to hear. Don't be the limitation to your own success. So, absolutely. Brian, I want to thank you for taking the time to be on The Broker's Voice today. This was awesome. I think a lot of people are going to get to know you better, which is what I wanted, and know a little bit more about new benefits. And if you're listening in and you are looking for a solution that is going to help your clients meet their employees' needs where they're at today, seek Brian out. His email's right there. Check him out on LinkedIn. And you know what happens when you get that clarity, mix it with confidence, you become unstoppable. So go do amazing things today. Be well.